everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mysticraven. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are all having a good day. I'm on my PS4 today. So I came out with my new build last night, Blizzard, and I'm going to be working on getting my Icy Comet today. So, just something I need to do. But, you know, you could post a vid. Here, first off, I'm going to go ahead and say this. How many of the other content creators are pugging vets? I mean, pugging them. Hardly next to fucking none. Just going to say it. I'm going to be honest. I'm one of the only content creators. You know, Deltia has done it. But I'm one of the only ones to do it. Actually, I believe I am still probably me. I think Zai does it too. One of the first to do it on a regular basis. That's why it's called ESO Daily. And that's what I do on a daily occurrence. Looks like pretty easy ones. So, you know, the funny thing about it is, you know, a lot of people want to go ahead and hate on whatever I'm doing. And I'm like, well, you know, have at it. You know, either step the fuck up or back the fuck out. Whatever the fuck you want to do. You know, you want to watch their content? By all means. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. But the funny thing is, since day one, you know, I've been here and I've helped this community. I've actually helped change the face of this game with what content creators are currently doing. And do I make mistakes? Absolutely, because I've made two huge mistakes, and I still have those videos. I didn't delete them, didn't get rid of them, and why? Because we're human. We all make mistakes, and that's an important thing to know in life, right? That we do make mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. We all can make mistakes, and I believe we can all learn from each other. That's another important thing. But my major problem with meta players is only one simple thing. They're bullies. They're fucking bullies. And you know what I've realized in life? Now, see, growing up, I don't like bullies. Nobody bullied me. But I don't like bullies. I push back against bullies, especially ones picking on people who want to be picked on, or who don't want to be picked on, who aren't doing anything. And that's what the truth of it is. They think it's their way or no way. Morning, Robert. I get the feeling this is going to be a rant. Not really a rant. It's just, it is the truth. When you take a look, you know, when people hate on something, and like, I don't go to other YouTubers and I don't hate on anybody's stuff. And the reason being, to me, that's not really tactful, right? I just don't. I don't have a reason. If I even disagree with it, I don't dislike it and I don't hate on it. I might leave a comment, you know, constructive criticism, to go ahead and say, well, yeah, but, and then if you leave a constructive criticism, everybody will defend that player to their dying breath. But it's kind of funny because when I take a look back, and you can flip back through all their stuff, anybody's, it's like, oh, what the flip? There it is. Just out of my gorge today. Pretty easy ones, actually. I'm kind of depressed. But, you know, they stacked CP. They had critical values well above 60. Well, you had people critical values 70, 80s. Like, whoa. We had all sorts of crazy, generalized gear. Does anybody remember? Need I say Twice Born Star, Thief, and Shadow Mundus? Need I say it? Need I say it? Do I have to remind players that they all did it? And they said it was what? BIS. Remember those words? BIS, best in slot. I mean, I'm like, wow. Wow, the audacity. The audacity of the content creators in Elder Scrolls. The audacity of it. The garbage of it. It was garbage. It was the biggest clickbait fucking ever. Morning, Nathaniel. How can I stop getting notifications on my phone from this channel? I'm not subscribed. That's the only way you would get it. Here, maybe I can go to your channel and block you. Sounds like a plan to me. Hopefully that'll stop your notifications there. There you go, bud. I hope that helped. Hope that helps. Anyways. So, it's kind of cool, because the more I flank out, though, these little... like, you know, wimps. That's what I'm going to call them. Little talking safety behind, you know, console player wimps. You know, the more I get to, you know, just block them, which is cool. And to me, it's whatever. It's like one player was talking shit in Cyrodiil. I'm like, dude, message me tomorrow. We'll have a 1v1. Now, I guess this player plays on ESO, or posts on, I guess, a forum site called ESO Salty. I can't believe there's a fucking forum site called that. I was surprised to even hear about it. I didn't even know who this friggin' dude was. And he just whatever. Now, I never say I'm the best at anything, especially because I don't chase anything in this game. It's a waste of my friggin' time, to be honest with you. Actually, while I'm doing this, I probably could get some sky shards. Going down to sky shards. There we go. 1 second. Let's see. Groutwood, there's only 3. I have a lot of sky shards on this dude. Green shade, there's a couple. I need to get all the one in Canarthy's Roost. Those ones are pretty easy. But, you know, to me personally, though, I said, dude, we'll see what's up. Just whatever. And I'm like, you know, this way, even if you beat me, and you probably do. Some people, you know, I'm like, I PvP an hour here, an hour there, 2 hours there and there. I don't live in Cyrodiil. But, you know, at PvP, I come out with good builds, you know, pretty strong, definitely, you know. And all of a sudden, you know, didn't even bother getting back a hold of me. And I was like, okay. And then, you know, I get, you know, duels and whatever, invitations and stuff. Now, I don't like dueling per se. I think dueling is just cringy as fuck. I think exposure videos are cringy as fuck. And it's like, you know, as much as people want to say they got exposed, they expose somebody, these people die too. So I don't really like it. I've been involved in PvP tournaments and stuff, and like the dueling tournaments, but I don't really think that's a reflection of somebody's PvP capabilities. I mean, it's just like, wow. You know, and I've won and I've, you know, lost. It's like, I'm like, there's so much more to PvP than just one aspect. You know, objective play, you know, whether or not you're playing small team, solo, a lot of different variables to consider how you measure somebody's PvP capabilities. You know, when I got GM the second time in World of Warcraft, my KDR the first time was like awesome, like really badass. like on my one tune. My other tune, like I did it on a healer, right? And it was like, to be honest with you, it was like, oh, okay, well, what's my KDR going to be? My KDR is going to be shit, right? My KDR was going to look like crap because I was on a healer. But, you know, honestly, the way I look at it is like, was I still functional as a PvPer in that role? Absolutely. Because my forces needed heals, you know? And the more, you know, I moved throughout the rank, moved up into the ranking system, is how you acquire your titles and stuff. So, you know, when it came to healing, you know, in Battlegrounds at that time, I was really, you know, known because, you know, I already did it with my my Rage Warrior. Then on top of it, then I did it with, you know, my healer. So, but, you know, I just don't like bullies. Like, I always say, you know, I pay respect to the people who are respectful. I don't respect players who are disrespectful. Someone's like, oh, well, you know, you got to pay respect to get respect. Bullshit. Not against those people. Those people will never give you fucking respect. They will never give it to you. Ever. They will never give you respect. Because they put themselves above you. And you know what you need to do to those people? Knock them off their fucking high horse. It's what you need to fucking do. You smack the shit out of them until they fucking, you know, grab a little piece of humble pie and you force it down their friggin' throats. Now, I'm not talking physically beating up somebody. I'm talking you mentally say, no thank you, I'm not bowing down to you. All of a sudden they get a problem and you're like, hey, tough shit. You're a piece of shit. You know? And then if it gets down to it, you just prove them wrong. That's what you do. All of a sudden, when people can't accept it, they eat humble pie. And I've served tons of humble pie in this game. Tons of it. Best being one of them. You know, best in slot. Wow. Diminishing returns. Man. A lot of content creators got to eat a piece of that one. I loved it. I loved it. Last night I got the VMA Fire Staff. My fourth time in VMA. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, it's definitely good for PvP. PvE, I don't like clench. I've tried to use clench in PvE stuff. It's not good, man. It's just kind of like, ow, that sucks.
We depart within the hour. Tell me.
Oh, no. I want the Vardenfeld one, right? Yep. I think there's another anchor dude over here, I want to say. Yeah, over there. But, yeah, so the funny thing about it is they're bullies. I mean, do I even rag on meta player builds? No. I don't use their build. I don't use those builds. I don't use those configurations. And they're like, oh, why? Because for me, yeah, my builds are better. For me. Not saying my builds are better compared, you know. For me personally, yeah. For me. The players who want to use my builds, that's fine. That's up to them. That's completely up to them. I'm not a cookie, never have been. I always figure out my own configurations, what works best for me. That's what I do. I'm starting to like clinch with Froststaff and PvP more. Oh my gosh, like, yeah. I'm loving. I'm hoping I get a Q sometime this year. What's a good DPS? It just sucks. I'm loving Froststaff more and more in PvP. I mean, when you immobilize somebody, and I got this nasty poison on my staff, so basically what it does is when any Nightblade gets hit with it, it pops them out of stealth, right? And then all of a sudden, they are completely, you know, I shouldn't say pops them out of stealth. it friggin' marks them. So I'm using a marking poison. Right? It's a debuff and a mark. And oh my god, it's amazing. Love it. I mean, when I crafted that poison, I'm like, oh my gosh. All of a sudden, I'm just like, as soon as, now they can still dodge it, but if they miss the dodge, so I'm usually spamming it against blades. As soon as they get marked, they're like revealed for like 5 seconds. Like, they can't stealth for 5 seconds. Like, I'm like, oh, you're dead. You're dead, Blade. You're now dead. And I'll just smack them with it. Now, I honestly forget where all the little sky shards are. So, bear with me. Because I don't have my app on here. So, I'm just kind of like cruising around. I think there's one on the back of a temple. Oh, hello. Wait, I need beetle scuttle anyways. Alright. No beetle scuttle. Ugh. Says I'm queued. It just sucks. That person might be trying to get that. I also don't like taking things when people are trying to fight for it. It's one thing I don't do either. People are, you know, sometimes are out here harvesting, they're, you know, farming stuff, and, you know, I'm kind of respectful in that manner. You know, like, I was raised to respect people. I mean, it's just the way it is. You know, but my grandfather always told me, hey, if someone treats you with disrespect, you don't owe them any respect. And that's when I was like, I probably like 7 or 8, because, like, you know, a little kid was like, I don't know, I guess trying to be mean. But of course, at that age, you're naive, right? You're kind of naive when you're a child. So, you know, when you're taught to be respectful to your elders, and you're taught, you know, to go ahead and, you know, whatever. My grandfather, who was like old school, like really, really old school, he was like, if somebody's disrespecting you, you know, you don't owe them respect. You owe them nothing. And he's like, and if a person goes ahead and gets in your face, you get them the hell out of it. You make sure they never get in your face ever again. And I was like, okay. You know, and he's like, you don't instigate any situation. You do not provoke a situation that is not warranted. He's like, but as soon as somebody provokes something with you, you stand your ground. And he's like, you stand your ground. And I was like, cool, you know, straight, you know, that's the way it goes. You know, it is what it is. You know, like I don't go out running and chasing fights, and I don't believe in that, you know. If anything, I'm more of a pacifist. I believe everybody should try to get along, and everybody can resolve issues without confrontation most of the time. Of course, in this game, that's why I became a YouTuber, right? Because of the meta players. The meta players fed toxicity so bad in this community that I literally had to take the arms of being the bad guy. I had to. It was kind of like a reverse psychology type thing. I knew the approach. It was like, I'm going to have to be the little, you know, excuse the French, bastard to come in here and, you know, basically, you know, set these dudes up and basically question everything that they've been doing thus far. And the first person like my eyes was on was what I was told was Deltia at that time. And it was kind of funny because like I didn't know Deltia or anything. I just watched it, and like everything that the game was whatever for whatever is where I could see where everybody was getting this twice-born star, where people were ignoring the law of diminishing returns, everything. So on Twitter, on ESO Twitter, me and Delta got into it, like literally. And like, you know, he's like, well, you're ignoring the facts. I'm like, I'm not ignoring the facts. You're ignoring the facts of concentration and light armor passive. So you're putting magic users in sharpen. You're doing this. You're generalizing the gear. You know, this, and that. And then after a while, you know, after Delta had realized, you know, hey man, you know, there is definitely something here, I squashed it with him. I played with Deltia before. I get along with him. I go to his channel. I'm very supportive. But it definitely remains to be fact that we all, and me included, can be wrong. But the meta players that follow these people are bullies. They're cyber bullies in the worst manner. Why didn't that fire? I dropped it. That's weird. Radiuses can sometimes suck. Let me check out the comments. I'm still waiting for Q. My problem with meta players is this. I want everyone to get along. Right. It's not much to ask for. What is a meta player? That's a good question. Don't ask. You don't want to be. Snipe is meta. Snipe is definitely a killer. It's got counters though. You became a YouTuber because no one wanted to play with you. Dude, I was already in a guild. We was already doing trials before I even found this out, you dum-dum. Instead of you just, you're the problem, you'd rather just blame the... I blame the entire community. Yeah, well, this is preposterous. He's just a fucking dum-dum. This dude is so thick. Yet preposterous. Who do it? I am a narcissist. I'm not delusional, but I am a narcissist. So, I do agree with that. If you were to ask, I am a narcissist. And usually narcissists can't go ahead, whatever. Most effective tactics available in I can't even pronounce it, I believe. Listener, let me tell you something, dude. You dumb fucks in your whole fucking guild, going on everything and hitting dislike. Why do you think you learned about diminishing returns? Were they covering it from the get? Let me ask you. Go ahead. I'll wait for the answer. Were they stacking CP ever? And I'll wait for your response because I'll know what your response is. It wasn't important prior to Morrowind, and you would be wrong. But go ahead. Reply. I'll wait. Let me go ahead and see what your comment is here. You like my videos? Okay, that's cool. But your guild mates are ones like hating on me. A lot of them. Like Hand, I get along with Hand. I think that's a really damn good player. Like, I think you guys are skilled as hell. But honestly, the thing about it is, like, when a bunch of people would go ahead and hate on me and dislike my shit, it's like, you know, these people just hate what I'm about, and I'm not trying to be about anything but helping the average player. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do, man. You know, and I'll tell people specifically if you can get this to endgame. Like, not all of my builds are going towards endgame. Do you need trial sets for endgame? Well, no. You know, it's going to be dependent on each class and each role, right? That's just the facts. It's just the way the game's fucking designed. It's just the way it goes. It sucks, but it's the way it is. You know, like what? You know, like right now, I don't use like I don't use any fucking magicka, like, with the exception of one piece of 5 infal. I don't use a trial set on any magchem for it, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. I hate it. Now we are getting ready to use Master Architect in our trial, so we're going to configure 2 players with Master Architect. So we're now starting to reapply Master Architect. Why? Because our STAM users are using penetrating value sets, and they're using their trial sets in a different configuration. Now, do people have different configurations? Absolutely. But I need a person with Sunder set. I need a person with Night Mothers. I need a person with whatever. And that becomes kind of the concern. Now, can I pair them with like a 5-3 config? Yeah, but unfortunately at times when they run like support sets for each other, it also hinders them. So we have to pick up the extra DPS somewhere sometimes. And people will be like, well, what Slayer would do that for you? Not over the weapon damage, Sometimes you're losing so much, you have to gain more to recover. It all depends, once again, on class and configuration. It's just the way it is. I mean, am I going to say that that's the best way to do it? No. Once again, am I going to guide people through trials and stuff? No. Why? I'm a former elitist. I just play to get gear and I'm out. That's it. That's all we're in there for. We're not in there for fluff and whatever and bragging rights and none of it. I don't give a shit about none of that. I don't care about it. If there's content creators covering it, why do I want to cover it? If people are already doing walkthroughs and already saying, hey, we use this, we use that to, get through it, hey, by all means, have at it. I don't want that burden on my shoulder. I don't want the problem of it. And I don't want people kissing my ass either, thinking like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They say like, the God complex, like Mysticraven, the God, and like in a sarcastic manner. And I personally don't give a shit. Personally. The funny thing about it is it's I'm trying to find this fucking temple. Where did I know it's back here. There's a temple that's got a sky shard in the back of it. But personally, honestly, I'm just trying to help the average Joe. That's it. The people who, have a hard time getting gear, the people who have a hard time trying to whatever. No, Zynode, listener, is my boy. He's a lot better. He's a lot more friendly about it. I'm not callous. I'm just in your face about it. There's nothing callous about it. The simple fact of it is, meta players think only in one direction. This game's so much bigger than that. It's just so much better. It's so much bigger. No one has an issue with you making builds for average players with varying comments. I love this game. BOE builds are fun and give the average player a chance to be effective. Look at Zyno. Zyno's my boy. You know that, right? Like me and Zy talk. Me and Zy's been like friends since we did YouTube. But when we were less than 1,000. Like when we were in like our 200s. Like I have him friended on every platform and everything. We play together. He's come on my channel and played with me and stuff. That's my dude. Like Zy's my dude for life. Me and him were the only ones covering diminishing returns back in the day. That's how we became friends. Because when everybody was stacking CP, me and Zynode wasn't. I like your videos, bro. I've been playing for 2 years, and I'm still learning something new. Keep doing those videos. Thank you, Saint. Thank you so much. You're a toxic guy. This community doesn't need people like you. Aww, and I don't need a person like you. It's so sweet. Thank you for coming out. I'm not toxic, by the way. Toxic players would be the players going ahead and feeding bullshit. Yeah. Oh, looky, there's another troll. Yeah, I'm in your face about it. Callous is like, like something, like, you have a grudge, right? Like, I don't have a grudge. My problem of it is what it is. I'm going to put it in your face that, oh, hello, you guys fucking ignore it. It's like, what? That's really all there is to it. Help all players. I like it. But just be civil towards that. Okay, here's my deal. And I agree with that. I like it. Saying give respect and get respect. You were saying give respect. No. I'm not saying that. You don't give respect to get respect. That's a misconception in the world. You respect people who will respect you. If people don't respect you, you don't respect them. You don't kill them with kindness. Hell no. That's something I was brought up not to do. Because they put themselves above you. What do? You smack them off their fucking throne. Not physically, I'm saying, but you approach the facts. That's something I was brought up not to do. To back down or to say, hey, you know what? Why can't we just go ahead and just say you're right and I'm right? And it's like, why don't you just get the fuck out of my face, you know? And if you want to believe that, have at it. Just, stop trying to force your opinion on me, And that's what I was told. It's fine to disagree. Just don't force me to believe the way you do. I'm not a conformist. I just heard about all this. What would you say the meta players are saying that's wrong? It's not necessarily what they're saying now. It's what they did say and why players hate me. Meta players believe it's the meta players think it's the only way. Yeah, yesterday, the other day ago, actually, I was told about this player who beat Vet Halls of Fabrication, Vet Mall, he just did Vet AA, all on what? A Stamina Warden Healer. Now, I have the build. I have a Stamina Warden Healer. I was very apprehensive to take it into Vet Trials. Why? It wasn't the healing that was the issue. It was buff applications that kind of had me a little, concerned. That's the only reason. It's like, but, and then someone's like, well, and then somebody made a joke. It's like, well, would you say that it's not doable? And I'm like, I wouldn't say that, because if I said it, somebody would do it to prove me wrong, because you can't do that in this game. That's the one thing you cannot do in this game. You can't say one way applies, because the devs always intended for you to basically try to challenge yourself as a player to say, okay, how far can I take this? Can I take it all the way? And a player did. Now, have I done it? No. Because I was apprehensive about taking a Stam Warden in Vet Trial. I was like, I don't know if I could do it, man. I don't know. I'm like, to me, it's not the healing, it's the buff supplied. It's kind of a big thing. I mean, I'm taking a look at Spell Power Cure. Yeah, I'm using Powerful Assault, but Spell Power Cure gives that a little bit more. Then I'm taking a look at the other buffs, and, I'm lacking, the minor buffs that the Magicka version gives. It's kind of whatever. But now you have it. Now you have a player who's done it, right? It's official. He has it posted. It is official. So the meta players would dictate that, no, you cannot do that. Elder Scroll bitches. The meta is not the standard. It is not the standard. The title is the standard. Elder Scrolls. That is the standard for this game. And I've had to deal with it since day one. The back against the wall. Nightblades can't heal. DKs can't heal. People stacking CP. You're fucked in the head, Mystic. You're so full of shit. And now, they all come my way. And the more and more I get recognition, the more and more dislikes I get. From who? The meta players. They're bullies. Do I care? No. I'll keep pushing back. Most effective tactic available, so you're called meta players believe. It's not the most effective. That's the problem. When you have a stamp-warded healer who just healed a no-death V-Maul, is his build not as effective? Not as? That's your problem, bro. That's your problem. You're blinded by meta. You have meta blindfold on. You can do anything, but competitively in score runs, not so much. But fun runs live your life. I agree. Do whatever. Competitive in this game is a joke. It's a fucking joke. In all my years of MMOing, this sad excuse of competitiveness in endgame is a joke. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. I don't know why the devs put it in there because they realized one truth. How do we keep players playing the end game once they acquire the gear? Oh, we'll put weekly scoreboards. Brilliant. It's so brilliant. And I love the devs at ZOS. Don't get me wrong. I love the devs. But that's probably the most junk stuff I've ever seen in my life from a competitive standpoint. Now, am I competitive anymore? No, I haven't been competitive for like 4 years now. But every other game I was very competitive, especially my end game. And then always get server first, couple of hiccups, depending, had to go through exchanges of kills and hands. Have I gotten server first? Fucking better believe I did. Yeah, I took that shit serious. Server first, man. Get in or get the fuck out. That was what it was about, man. That's competitive. Who's getting it done first? It's forever on the board. Ever. Your score was always reflected too. So your permanent high was always charted. So if anybody wanted to do whatever in time, like if you had a time, there's certain games did, certain games didn't. World of Warcraft didn't. I actually want to say World of Warcraft didn't even have server first. Rift had server first and board score. So your highest score, your fastest time rate was recorded. So yeah, that's competitive to me. Not a weekly resettable friggin' crap. But I don't even give a shit anymore. They start putting server first in this game, man. That might bring some shit back out in me, though. Like, forever, server first. Outcast would probably rip most people apart, him and HOTOR, to be honest with you. But, and that's another thing. Am I going to go ahead and say the players who dictate the meta, and that's exactly the phrase I'm going to use, dictate, are they bad players? No. Absolutely not. That's right there. I know it's right there. It's got to be right there. And I didn't get my queue yet. I'm going to reset. I swear to God, I'm resetting my queue. I'm just trying to level and I'm trying to get some keys in the process. Sometimes this thing bugs up. Go down here. I wouldn't say the meta is the standard. I love this already, but I would say it's the easiest way to play the game for most people, and that's why it's so ingrained. In my opinion, if you can fulfill your role, come on in. I love it. Thank you. Yep, I agree. Electric. Totally. Definitely not server first. VMA clear, though. Yeah, I would love server first. That's competitive. Well, in recorded high, like whoever, if they had like standard guild, right? Like every game has guild registries on your boards, right? So your guild is credited for your scores, not you as a player, your guild, right? And you are on that board being a participant, kind of like whatever. So your guild score is a reflection, or your high or your score is a reflection of your highest score val, right? If they had something like that, that would be more competitive. That's standard. It stays. Like, it sets the bar. right? It sets the bar. That, I mean, a lot of people will post that on YouTube because they know it gets reset every week. So it is what it is. But, you know, honestly, the one thing I've come to realize is, like, why do weekly resets? Like, why? Like, that makes no sense if you want to, you know, keep players playing. You know, it's like, okay, after a while that's going to get monotonous. It's going to become mute. It's like, who gives a shit? I don't even give a shit. It's like, okay, get the gold gear, get in, get out, and move on. Peace. Bye. It's like, in-game, the end game in other games took months because we had weekly lockouts, right? World of Warcraft, we had weekly lockouts. DCUO, weekly lockouts. You know, those were kind of facts that we had to take a look at because it took time to acquire your linear BIS gear. Because if I had tier 3 and tier 4 came out, I had to have it. I had to. You know, was it required for PvE or PvP? No. I had to, but I still had to work on the next tier gear and that too. Because, you know, you had arena gear, you had battleground gear, so on and so forth. Same thing with Rift, all those games. And it really got sucky when all of a sudden, months down the line, expansion comes out and all your progression goes down a toilet from one piece of your first green drop. It really was great. It was awesome. Thank you. Every game that's ever done that to me in my life over the years. EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Rift, over and over. You know, it was awesome. Fucking awesome. I got tired of it. Years of the grind. Years of the completely, you know, whatever. Never really getting to enjoy a game. I never got to enjoy games, man. To be honest with you. I was just too competitive to enjoy them. You know, I just never got to. People are like, don't you have fun? I'm like, no, I don't have fun. I'm a stress mess. You know, I'm a stress mess. For example, Outcast and a lot of other people recommend Force Pulse builds for non-pet sorks, but I hate that. Yeah, I'm using Force Pulse right now. I don't like Force Pulse typically. With this build, I used it for one specific reason, because it has the chance to apply the Magicka damage, and I'm using War Maiden, so it amped it. That's why I'm using this ability. Typically, I would have loved to use my Screaming Cliff Racer. Right? Deals a, you know, 10,005, but I get that 15%. But that was the biggest issue here. It was a calculation in damage per on the hit, because it was like 27, 28, 27. Calculate all that up, right? And it was like, okay, it's almost comparable to Screaming Cliff Racer, 15% boost. Here's this applied effect. Now, when I take a look at this, the 3,843, plus I'm getting the modifier to the passive for the AoE effects for Lightning Staff passive for Ancient Knowledge. So I really couldn't pass it up at that point. Do I use the Ancient Knowledge passive in every config? No, because sometimes it's not worth it. You have to, it's like equivalent exchange. You have to give up something to gain somewhere. Well, sometimes if you try to give something up, it's exactly that. You gave it up. You know, because you have the Mage Guild passives, you have class innate passives, and you also have your, you know, weapon passives. So all of these are contributing factors to how you're going to set up configuration. Oh, it's over here. There's another one over here. It's all a contributing factor, you know, and in each class can't be set up the same way because of that. Because you got to decide. Like literally, I could take out this ability, the Inner Light, right, and put in Blossom, right, and that'll give me crit. That will carry on both sides, right? It will, but what I'm gonna lose is the 5% extra Magicka. For what? A healing effect. So I have to decide, you know, and then on top of it, I'm also going to lose a 2% on the Mage Guild ability, right? So when I go to Mage Guild ability and I take a look at this passive, I'm getting an increased max magicka and recovery by 2%. I got a 6% boost because I use degeneration. A lot of people don't like degeneration. I love it. It gives me the major sorcery, activates the might of the guild at a lower cost than inner light. And then on top of it, I'm getting an extra applied effect for either 4 to 6%. But every config is going to be different. Every player's playstyle is going to be different. The game's designed for you to say, how do I want to gain and lose it? I can put the Lotus Blossom on. That's fine. It's going to give me the prophecy. That's not an issue whatsoever. It's not even an issue. It's actually pretty freaking cool that that's where your choices line in at, along with morphs. It's kind of like, do I like Force Pulse? Did I want Crushing Shock or did I want Force Pulse? Well, Crushing Shock has the interrupt, but it doesn't do the magic damage. I'm using War Maiden, so yeah, I want the magic damage. You know, so that's just a prime example how this game's designed. So, you know, and I tell players that, you know, not every configuration is going to whatever. Templars, like Magplars, a lot of people are like, Magplars suck right now, they're DPS. I'm like, they try to keep putting them in the same gear. They try to do that with every class. You cannot do that. This is Elder Scrolls. That's why there's no BIS. It's why you don't say the word BIS. You don't do it because it doesn't apply. It's finisher scales max magicka. Now every other ability has the same effect, you know, scales, you know, same scaling rules, right? But unfortunately, you know, do I want to take the apprentice over the mage on my Templar? That becomes the question. Because if I did, my upfront abilities would deal more, but my finisher would go, and so would, you know, other effects. I want to go ahead and take the mage. That's me. That's why I'm building. Now, can somebody build it different? Absolutely. Welcome to Elder Scrolls. So that's what I'm saying. So I never ran it, and my non-pet build was pretty shit. And then a couple of days ago, I was helping someone out with their Force Pulse build. And I had an idea for a non-pet Sork. I was able to pull 37k with no pets and no Force Pulse. Nice. Really good number. Electric. I can only pull that with 2 pets out. Yeah, you know, the thing about it is, though, and that's the kind of cool thing, though, Electric. You had an idea. You wanted to see. You ran with it. You checked it out. But that is the beauty, isn't it? And it works for you. And it works. That's what I like about this game. That's why I play it. That's why I continue to play this game. Actually, like I said, I was going to leave. One day I was going to leave this game. Like, I remember sitting there. It was like during one time the buffs, you know, the lag was horrible. Everything, it was almost unplayable at one time, you know, when we were dealing with that. And I was like, man, I can't do this, man. I can't do this anymore. And I was going to leave. I was just going to be like, you know, I'm out of here. And it was in my early stages of content creating when I was starting to build the Nightblade Healer, and I was starting to do this, and I was, you know, whatever. And I felt like the community was to a point where I couldn't help them. Like, I couldn't. Like, there was nothing I was going to do to help this community. I was frustrated anyways. I was like, this community's fucked. This game is fucked because of its community. It's fucked because of its community at this point. And, you know, I'm like, you know, this is a mess. I'm out of here. Peace out, Zoss. That was my ticket submission. I get a reply back, and they're like, we don't want you to go. Okay. You know, and it wasn't about, like, the money. So, for me personally, you know, it was like, I'm like, they've been fed bullshit for 2 years. That's two years too long. I took a sabbatical from MMOs. It's not my fault that I walk in on this garbage. You know? I walked in on it. Now I came here on this crap. You know? And that's what I like about it, though. Like, every player's gonna play different. Every whatever. It's gotten better. It's gotten so much better. Players are realizing there's no such thing as BIS because BIS is linear and it applies to every rule of thumb. Right? So basically it's saying this. I need players with different configurations to maximize group effort. And that's apparent because it was always supposed to be that way. Every class has innate passives that go ahead and benefit party. Right? I still can't believe I didn't get a Q. Oh my gosh. So when I go in, every class has some sort of passive, right? That is going to benefit your party. For the Wardens, it's maturation, right? For Nightblades, it's the one that gives minor Slayer. I mean, not Slayer. Minor, the minor crit, right? Same thing with Sorks. You know, give stamp. Nightblades give stamp crit. Sorks give magical crit. You know, DKs give minor brutality. You know, goes down the line. Everybody offers something to your group's functionality, right? So, like, if I didn't have a warden healer and I'm a warden DPS, I can go ahead and use my Lotus Blossom, and as I'm dealing damage, it's going to heal. And as I'm healing, I'm applying minor toughness to my group, right? That's increasing their max health by 10% constantly. That's relevant. You see what I'm saying? But I have to sacrifice something in my configuration to benefit my party. So that's the deal. The devs always designed it that way. They're brilliant, actually. They're friggin' brilliant. It's a they're friggin' ingenious is what it is. And I've met some real devs I don't know any of the devs at ZOS. At least I don't think. But I've met devs, I've talked to devs, I've worked with devs, and I'll tell you from a first-hand standpoint, devs are usually very, very intelligent, especially when it comes to math. That's what they do on a daily basis, especially if they have to code. You know, so they usually know what they're doing, contrary to popular belief that the devs have no clue what they're doing. I assure you that's not the case. So, I assure you, and I can't find these guys' shirts for shit. So I'm going somewhere where I can find delves, and I can't find a friggin' queue. I'm just roaming around collecting all sorts of shit. So, you know, it is what it is. And like I tell people, man, I'm like, just, if you don't like my stuff, that's fine. You want to hit dislike, that's fine. Don't be a bully. If you want to be a bully, you know, that is what it is. Maybe you've been bullied. That's the one thing that also, you know, I was a martial artist, and we always told people, it's one thing to stick up for yourself, right? And it's one thing to go ahead and stand your ground and fight for something, but it's another thing to chase people down and bully them, because that's what bullies do. Bullies are always, you know, looking for conflict. I'm not looking for conflict. I don't go to people's sites and just bash on them like some trolls do, because that's bullying in harassment. I'm not going to harass a player. I'm not going to go ahead and bully people. You came to my channel, or if I go to yours and I leave a constructive criticism, that's what it will be. You know, but at the same time, I have to be proactive. I have to try to help the community the best way possible. You know, and if I have to go and point this out to the big boys because they've gotten so full of themselves, then I'll do it. I will do so. Because the game, you know, you have to do it. Sometimes it's like, you know, you take fighting, for example. There's a known fighter, right? And then you have an unknown fighter. But yet this unknown fighter, he has a record prior to facing off to the champion, but the odds are stacked against him, right? The odds are always stacked against the newcomer. Why? Because he's the reigning champ, right? It's a safe bet. Is it? Because every champion will sooner or later fall. Just the way it is. The way it works, you know. Place your bets. Place your bets. I know a lot of fighters too in real life. You know, a lot of fighters. Especially where I live, that's kind of what we do. You know, we go to the gym, we work out. Well, I don't anymore. Sucks. But and we spar. We literally spar all the time around here. There's a lot of gyms that, you know, you go and you spar. And you learn fighting. Best in slot is Contextual and ESO. Absolutely. Thank you. But they never said that in the beginning, though. Remember? Remember everybody was wearing Twiceborn Star? Remember? Situations and classes are a determining factor. I 100% agree. There are a few sets that perform better than most. However, Magic and Stamina respectfully. Raid composition has come a long way since even before One Tamriel. I would say build and class variation is strong than ever in endgame. I agree. I think the devs do a beautiful job in that aspect. The Deadly Cloak buff in Morrowind was the greatest gift to a large portion of the damage dealing community. I'm still grateful to Zoss for that one. Yeah, like, I agree. I mean, that's probably the best, you know, way of looking at it. Right. I totally agree with that. Like, the Deadly Cloak was good, but survivability was a major issue. And with One Tamriel, I mean, with Morrowind and that update to that ability, definitely made a difference for stamina users. Because Magic users had shields, right? But stamina users, really, I mean, not much you could do, you know, except hold block. And by that time, you know, what was you going to do? That was the whole idea. Like, stamina has stamina, so they should be able to block, you know? Well, that's a great theory, but unfortunately, cost block reduction was apparent. Deadly Cloak was definitely a lifesaver. Composition, though, I don't think composition, ideally speaking, the idea of the composition, I would agree, was effective in One Tamriel. That's when it was supposed to be worked on. That was when it was supposed to be like, okay, how do we compose our team? But during the phase of One Tamriel, right, a lot of people were still referencing BIS, and they were still setting up every class in the same aspect. And ideally, that's what the One Tamriel was supposed to not only just open up players, but like you said, listen, go ahead and reevaluate composition. And unfortunately, a lot of players and a lot of endgame players didn't grasp that. They were still chasing BIS. You know, they were chasing it. And they were applying it to every said class now. So it got replaced, Twiceborn Star got replaced with what? You know, trial set configuration and drop set config. So it was all drop set config. It took crafting completely out of the loop, right? Took crafting and said, you know, poof to crafting. You know, fuck crafting. It's not going to be applied. You know, this is how you're going to do it. This is the best for every class. Now is Magicka users using this and Stamina users using that. And we're going to go ahead and throw main tanks in medium armor set. But we'll just go ahead and put them in jewelry so they can use a heavy armor set. That's how we'll do it. Keep in mind, guys, that's why I have a main issue with main tank. Because the devs make heavy armor, but no one uses it because they believe that the Aegis buff is irrelevant. In a way, I kind of wish the devs would have done something different to promote the necessity for the set itself, for Luna and automated defense. Right? I really wish they would. They're good sets. They're great sets. The problem of it is, it's not really being appreciated by the end game players. So instead of throwing the tank, main tank, or tanks in it, because it's not controlled, because we can't literally say which phase we need to activate, right? It goes unchecked. It goes unwarranted. It goes saying, oh, well, who's going to use it? Now I'm working on configs to utilize it, to come out with builds that will be efficient in 4-mans. But even in trials, I have to ask that question. So, I think the devs, excuse me, I got allergy drainage really bad. So honestly, I feel like it's there. It is, but who's making the checks and balances? You know, that becomes the question. Did I do that delve? I might have done that delve. I don't think I got all the ones in green shade though either. Sucks. I'll just come over here. Might not be getting a dungeon today till my boys get on later. In my opinion, they need to buff Mag to be able to more calmly pull the same numbers in raid as Stam. You probably mean Stam. Then you can get Mag DPS and Mag Wardens in raids more. That's why you rock two-handed brawler for the win. I love the two-hand. I love two-hand on certain things. I run Lunar and Plague Doctor on my main tank. David, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. It is. It's the truth, man. I love the sets. I love what the devs do. It's just like, but I can see the perspective from another side. You know, I try to stay unbiased as much as possible, in life, because I believe there are two sides to a coin, right? I can't always look at it from heads, even though it lands on tails. I have to be like, okay, well, there's tails, and I'm always going to say heads. You have to kind of keep unbiased in that perspective. So I understand players' other perspectives. I'm not saying I don't, but what am I saying is it's simple. Though, and then let's address the Magicka users at the moment. Okay, I'm going to address this. The problem with Magicka user at the moment is light attacks. If you want a double configuration, and I'm going to put this out there, and why I anticipate new skill lines for the upcoming chapter. It was on my Christmas wish list, and I told Zoss about this. The major issue comes back into light attacks. Okay. In double stack configs. Stamina users can go ahead and double stack their configurations, right? Because of the bow dual wield. It's not a required necessity, but it's the preferred method. Now, the perk to doing this is they are double stacked like a tank, right? Because of the dual wield, right? So they have 2 5-set bonuses and a monster set. If you're going to use Destro, you are losing what? A double stack or a monster set. So you have to go dual wield if you want to maintain, which I have a lot of configs that I like to do that. Because guess what? Then my damage is pushing just as much on ability as stamina, right? If not more. But I don't have a light attack or a heavy attack on dual wield. And I have to weave between every other versus, or every two versus every other. That's a lot of DPS out the window. That's a shitload of DPS out the window, right? To lose a weave to gain an ability when I'm supposed to be weaving light attacking every other ability. It's like, oh shit, right? So now stamina DPS, because they got the configuration, is going to surpass. And it's not anybody's fault per se. It's the way the swords do not deal magic damage. I have to be in their face to weave. It doesn't give me more. I need, guess what? If I want to go ahead with a double stack config on a Magicka user, I got to have a wand and a book or a tome or something. It's going to happen, guys. Mark my words. This chapter will introduce skill lines, and you will be getting wands or scepters or whatever you call it. I've stressed it. I've said it. I've said that is the problem. That is the problem. It is an issue. It needs addressed, and it will be. And you guess what? If it happens, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Not from Outcast, not from Deltia. None of them. You heard it here first. Why? Helly, what's up? You gonna be on Xbox tonight? I'm hoping to. Definitely. Our trial got trashed last night. A couple people didn't show, so it sucked. Run dailies in PvP. You know it. You know it. You know it. The most boring thing in the world was when you'd show up to a raid and it would be 6 to 8 mag sorks. And it's still like mag sorks or whatever. That's the thing too. That's why I like personally for me, like, I feel the competitiveness is the toxicity in the game. Because people are like, well, you're on like this and we can't use you. And it's like, okay, well that sucks, you know, and I don't want to be like that. If a player says, you know, hey, I've done this before, can I bring my mag DK? Fucking absolutely. I prefer the mag DK anyways, to be in one of them be in my party. And they're like, well, everybody else says, like, I can't play with them. And I'm like, well, I'll take you. Why? Because you're going to go ahead and give me that buff to my flame damage for my party. Well, don't you have a DK tank who says I want to go ahead and have to have a DK tank? I'd rather have my Templar tank over here, you know? So we're going to use our Templar tank right here, and you can go ahead and bring in your mag DK. As long as we can get it done, who cares? Well, even if we get no deaths that could affect your score, I'm not here for score. Right? I don't give a shit about that scoreboard. I don't give a shit. If you can get it done, let's go. Come on. You know, let's do it. That's what I'm in here for. But I don't do trials all the time. I've been doing trials more frequently, actually, though. Because my guild, we're grooming guild mates to do more vets. And, of course, you know, it's a process. Some players are better and more familiar with their rotation. Like I told my guild mates, don't get frustrated. Go to a target dummy. Especially if you're a mag user, whatever. Start, you know, learning how to weave. If you have a double stack configuration with the dual sword, switch out every 2 between your 2 abilities throughout your dot rotation, and then throw your light attack on your third. On the third switch, make sure you weave up on a heavy. You know, that'll help you maintain, whatever. Don't listen to me all the time, though, because sometimes I'll bottom out because I slip up on rotation all the time. It's human nature. Mechanics are going to go ahead and dictate. I don't have the best recovery points in the game. I mainly heal majority of the time. But, hey, whatever. Ideally speaking, that's what you want to do. Ideally, in a perfect world, if you're going to run a double stack config with dual wield. But if you're not and you're going destro, weave between every ability. Light attack between every one. Learn how to cancel out, and you'll be good. You know, that you'll be fine. Clipping is the biggest one. Like, a lot of people want to think like light canceling and clipping is the same thing. It's not. It's not. Clipping is the biggest one. When to clip. You know, that's a finesse thing. Is how to clip. Because sometimes if you try to clip too soon, you don't get it. If you try to, hit ability too late with a light attack, you're not going to whatever. Clipping is relevant because the delivery is going to be, boom, almost at the same time. And you can do that. If you watch Gilliam, he doesn't cancel, he clips. When there's a difference. When you watch his rotation, you'll see his light attacks deliver at the same time his abilities are going off. I think he's reference clipping, I'm not sure. But for real MMOers, there is a difference between canceling and clipping. There's a big, big difference. When are you going to be on tonight, David? I'm hoping... I can't believe I didn't get a queue. I'm so depressed. This is what it's like to be a DPS. Sucks. This sucks. Could probably go over here. I think there's a sky shard over here too on close by. Off that one little ledge. Kill monkeys around here too. They'll give you bananas. Okay, I know the ones down there. Isn't there some... Maybe it's right over here or something. Oh, actually, I think it's down there. Oh, well, I'll go get the delve real quick. I don't know if I've done this delve. Been around here, obviously, I think. But anyways, yeah. So if anybody asks what I have a problem with like meta players, it's because majority of them are bullies and they think it's only one rule, one said rule applies. That's not the case. It's just not. It's not. This is Elder Scrolls, and I believe listening said the best way. It's contextual. You know, it's true. It is. It's circumstances are going to dictate different results depending on what group configuration. It's just the way it is, man. I can go Destro duel, right? I can push out a shitload more damage on my dual wield than my Destro, right? I don't even have to worry about ancient fucking knowledge at that point. I don't have to worry about any of that shit, right? But fuck up the placement on that. But anyways, one of the major things, though, is like literally, I'm giving up what? A weave. I have a shit-ass stamina weave. Doing so. You know, if I do it, that's what I'm giving up. I have to give up. You know, that's the problem. That's the real concern. Stamina users are not... If swords were dealing magic damage, if they were, do you think the friggin' stamina users would like it? No. And as much as I would love for like being able to hybridize the game, like a regular Elder Scrolls game, it'll never be able to do it unless they fix scaling. That's another thing. Like somebody's like, well, are you ever going to build like hybrid builds? I can't. I've tried. I am not going to put out a build that's going to be, you know, literally like another good reason for players just to go ahead and troll me without proper scaling, without an offset to scales. I can't do it. Like, I can literally tell anybody, my builds will help average players. And depending on content, I will tell you if it's feasible to run it in endgame. I do not run, currently, there are not a lot of builds that I use in endgame with trial sets for mag. We have one player, we're running one 5-piece infal set, and that's apparent. Because we keep the vulnerability up 100%, it's up times 100% versus chance to apply. That 8% is increased to the entire party. Yet none of the other content creators have ever mentioned it. I wonder why. Or maybe they have, and maybe they just don't have the builds, because I can't find the builds for shit. But usually you want one person with 5 infal with a heavy attack, whatever. It does come in handy. Oh, fuck, I should maybe loot this. Maybe he's got something good. Fuck that. I am so not grabbing that. Where did this guy? Here we go, sorry. Oh, sorry. Did I pass it up or what the hell? But yeah, like scaling. That issue comes back down to scaling. That's a fact. If I'm going to give up Magicka, you best believe I better... Oh shit, I think it's back in this cove. I think I did pass it up. You best believe I want to go ahead and have something that scales properly. I'm sorry. I have said it multiple times. ZOS, fix the scaling loss between stamina and magicka. And where if I have stamina, my damage modifier from said will go ahead. I don't think it is. I'll find it. One way or the other. Where I can scale it, where it scales. If I can get that, right, I'll build hybrid builds all day. Essentially, tanks are hybrids, though. But they're still a tank. But they use magicka and stamina. I'm just messing around here. Where in the heck is that thing? Smallest dungeon in the world, and I can't find a stinking sky shard. Usually Adric dungeons are huge. I've probably been in here is why. Yep, I have been. Already got it. Go friggin' figure. I'm not looking at my chart to even pay attention. I'm waiting for Q is why. I'm just kind of goofing off. Alright, let me check out the comments. I'll probably wrap it up. I don't think I'm getting a Q. I don't think it's happening. Why are other content creators attacking? Oh no, it's not the content creators attacking me, Calvin. That's not... It's the people following the other content creators who believe that there's only one perspective to the game. Now, me and the content creators are actually getting along, majority of us. So it's not them. They're not attacking me. The meta players, the players who believe that this is absolute truth, they're the ones that are going ahead and trying to like bull or whatever. I don't take bullying, like whatever. If they think they're bullying me, they're crazy. Because, you know, I got a nice middle finger on each hand, you know, and with like that emote, I just flip them the bird. But I absolutely agree with you on how the game is played. Thank you. I appreciate that, Calvin. You and Sherman are the best, by the way. Thank you, Calvin. We appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. But, you know, it's not the content creators. It's just the players who follow them. They're whatever, you know. And you just like, whatever. Back off. You know, do your thing. Go be meta. Go be Biss. Good morning. Off tank is the only hybrid build that can work this. But yeah, you're right, Todd. Absolutely. You know, you're right. Tanks are probably going to be like the best hybrid type builds that are sufficient at currently. I wish it wasn't so, but unfortunately, it comes back down to what? Scaling. If I put a stamina set on a mag tune, right, on a magicka race tune, guess what happens? I lose DPS. Because the damage, my magical abilities don't scale what? Stamina. At all. They don't scale from the stamina pool. That's what sucks. It's like, okay, you want me to do a hybrid build? That's fine. You work the scaling system, and if you can do it, I will make a Sork wear stamina gear. A mag Sork with stamina gear. If you can do it, I will start a hybrid build. But until you can do it, I can't come out with viable builds. That says, hey, guess what? Now there are certain passives in certain situations, like Sorks, Stam Sorks, where that, you know, that lightning passive does give a boon to the Stam Sorks. I'm not disagreeing with that. Is that a hybrid type playstyle? In a way, I guess. But am I going to go ahead and put a magicka set and a stamina set on a Stam Sork? No. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Not until they fix scaling. They've got to address it. That's a hard thing because of the way the game's designed. You know, ground up. It comes back to some simplest little thing of how the formula was calculated to begin with. Right? And you can modify it. It's manageable. You can do it. But, you know, is it going to throw a wrench into other things? I don't know. I am not a dev. I'm just saying it's plausible. It's very plausible. Will they do it? I doubt it. Highly. I highly doubt they'll do it. Because once again, just it goes back down to one thing. This is why you don't come out with class-based games. They should never came out with class-based game, though it was going to be their moneymaker. Because it was applied to the theme park aspect by keeping sandbox implications through sets. It was just basically reversing the role. We'll make sandbox through sets and give it class-based whatever. And this way, every class can play every role. Okay, brilliant, unique, but still has problems with what? The minor things. And a lot of people want to talk about balance issues in this game. Are you fucking kidding me? Play Rift one time, come back to me, talk to me about balance. This class is dealing 2k more DPS. Are you fucking kidding me? Get the fuck out of here. Try 10k. Try builds that deal 10k more. Try that. I have. That's a balance issue. That's a real issue. Devs in this game do a damn good job. And the devs in this game know a lot more on par because they have the tools. They have tools that they can go ahead and friggin' set up and be like, okay, what do we get for this test? Excuse me. With this configuration. Oh, we got this. Okay, where are we getting with this on, you know, on the Sork? Oh, we got that. Okay, let's try this and now that. Okay, well, they're on pretty par with these different sets. Okay, that seems pretty balanced. You know, devs do that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You would know if a friggin', let me tell you something. You go to Rift, you come back, and then come and talk to me about balance. You want to complain about balance in this game? Go to Rift, come back. After you play Rift, you play every class of every soul, come back. And then we can have this discussion. Because that's why I left Rift. They kept promising, we're going to fix it. It's going to be balanced. It's going to be balanced. We're going to fix it. Bullshit. 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 You know how many times, you know, I've had to rework all these players in certain roles because you can't balance something between at least 4K? You can't fucking do it? I'm not asking to be completely true balance. It's a class-based game. That's asking for the next to the impossible. I'm just saying let's marginalize the difference. Can we do that? Can we marginalize the difference? If we could do that, I'm cool with it. But if you can't, I'm about to hit unsubscribe and tell you guys, no thank you. I don't want to do it anymore. And that's what happened. That's why I left Rift. It's what exactly happened. My builds only do like 12k DPS, so screw the balance, right? The balance, yeah. DPS queue is like waiting for Santa Claus. I think it is. Jeez, I think I'm you know, starting to see, you know, my fingernails grow in front of me. Jeez. It's crazy. No, balance, man. This game is not that bad. I played a lot worse. People cry about 2K or some stupid like that. Like, oh, there's a 2K difference, and, oh, you know, so this class is way better. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? First off, you got them set up in the same configuration. That could be bad. 2, you know, are you saying it's not doable because of that? Like, I played games that literally, like, certain configurations were completely trash. Remember World of Warcraft? I don't know how many of you guys have ever played WoW. But remember poor Frost Mages? Like, since forever in World of Warcraft. And all of a sudden, now Frost Mage, for the last, I don't know, what is it, year or two? Or maybe even, are like, way above the Flame Mages in World of Warcraft. Flame Mage ruled everything. Right? Ruled fucking everything at one time. Everything! Right? Now, instead, Blizzard, you would think Frost would have been good in PvP, and Flame would have been good in PvE, but Flame just ruled everything. And now, you would think, okay, well, this would work on this scenario. If Frost is kicking ass in PvE, Flame would be good in PvP. No, Frost is kicking. There's no way to like balance it. It's like that's my problem with class-based games. I hate class-based games because of that. That's why I like sandbox. Don't need to answer. That's just a auto call. That's why I like sandbox. I always like sandbox games. Why? Because you don't need to fucking balance anything but your own friggin' spreadsheet. And they have it here. It's implied. But, you know, once again, you got classes, you got innate passives. I mean, what they did was brilliant, but at the same time, a lot of players who are trying to look for the balance are failing to realize it's the passives that's why it's not balanced. Because it was designed to be applied in group scenarios. Dummies. Fucking dum-dums. That's why they marginalized the difference in this game. And they devs do it good. They do it justice. They do it justice, I will tell you. They will put, you know, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know, that's why, like, I don't believe in the toxicity in this game. This game is toxic literally for no fucking reason. And the meta players are just giant fucking cyberbullies. Keep coming my way, boys and girls. Because, man, I will hand out shit left and right. And when you are no longer stacking CP, you're welcome. When you're using Nirnhold with that crafted set, along with this type of configuration for this, you're welcome. You know, did I do it all? Nope. There were forum posters out there way before I even showed up in this hellhole. But guess what? Nobody paid attention to them. Everybody ignored him. But all of a sudden, little Mysticraven will come along and open up his big mouth. People say I'm crazy, but sooner or later, those content creators, yeah, they kind of align. We all kind of align. We all meet somewhere. And yes, I did talk to Outcast about diminishing returns for the fucking record. If you guys don't believe me, go to Fang Rush's Morrowind patch notes. It's when I had a nice, big old, nice, fat talk with Outcast initially. When he was saying my builds were shit. And he was stacking CP. Don't think I forget. Don't think I didn't get to see that, Outcast. Don't think I fucking didn't get to see it. I don't have no beef with you. I ain't got no issue like that anymore. I'm not holding a grudge. But you can say all the shit you want. But I know and you know. And so does a bunch of other people. And the BIS thing, me and him had to talk about that too. And that's why he doesn't use BIS anymore. Because it's bullshit. It's mathematically fucking flawed. And he knows it, and he's the best. He's probably one of the best players in the game. So I'm not discrediting him. He's probably one of the best in this game, hands down. So I do respect the man. So, but don't get it twisted. I'm not a person. I'm not a kiss ass either. All right, guys. I'm not getting this queue. But anyways, I'm gonna let everybody go. Thanks for listening to me just rant and talk and whatever. But like I said, next chapter, anticipate it. I will guarantee you almost 90% that there will be whatever. Rizzy! What's up? My build's only requeue. I've tried. Well, I'll do it again. But yeah. Oh my god, yes! Oh my god, is it here? Finally. Oh my gosh, thank you. It's about time. Jeez. It's amazing. But the thing about it is, guys, like, I don't have any grudge towards anything. Like, me and Gilliam, when we talked, I think it was the best conversation I had. Because we had, like, this dialogue where there was, like, it started with open tension, right? And literally, I was like, Gilliam, I'm not literally whatever, but you're not looking past certain points. And that's relevant. Like, you know, when I can literally take a look at whatever and see that you're stacking 80% into your into your critical values and you're ignoring base damage modifier, that's huge, right? And I'm like, when I can literally take a look and say that you're applying a linear perspective to this game, but you take a look at this, that's a difference too. And I'm like, now take a look at it from my perspective, right? That players have criticized me from the get. You know, I don't know where our tank is. Like, I've been criticized from the get for playing Nightblade healer, and you know, this and that. How do you think I'm going to respond? How do you think I'm going to respond when the community's been fed the toxicity from players like you? How do you think I'm going to respond to that? Might as well cut through the middle. Messed up on my back end bar. Fucking scamps. Parts and Archer. Not supposed to hit that until you hit the wall, so heads up. It's supposed to be the wall first prior to the force. Because you want the status effect to be applied, by the way. So I always want to start off on this bar. No pots either. It's not ideal. Alright. Pretty cake day. Ah. What? Oh shit. Always one that makes it. That's another thing, man. My frost staff dealing friggin' light, like over 6k on a light attack. Oh my god, that's so sick. Makes a difference. Don't do a heavy attack if you're gonna use frost though. Yeah, no, I suck. It is what it is. These poor players having to deal with me, carry my poor ass. These poor bastards. Yeah, we definitely need you, tank.
I will harvest your soul for the Deadlands.
What? No! Oh, hello! Hello! Shit.
Dagon!
Shit. Come on. Fuck that one up. Dude's looking for the neck. Thunder flame. Quinky dink. Quinky dink today. Come on. Do not touch. Yeah. Get this.
Surrender and I'll devour you quickly. Rise, minions! Rise, minions. Stop them before it's too late. Rise, minions.
Almost a run without one full heavy attack, man. This healer was really good. He was on his A game. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! RNG gods were with me on this run. The RNG gods has smiled upon Mystic thus this day with a divine inferno head and a sunder flame sword. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and check the comments and I'm going to wrap this up. Look, he's got his necklace, man. Cool deal. Somebody got his necklace for him. I'm not giving up that friggin' sword. It's not going to happen. Congrats on the sword. Thank you. Funny watching Asian ripping your video right now. That's perfect, Brandon. I love it. I don't even know who it is, but guess what? You're a troll. Guess what I do to trolls, Brandon? I go ahead and block you dudes, because you guys are idiots. Stupid meta chasers. Nope, Nords don't hit balls. Yeah. Did you at least hit his balls? Damn right I did. You know I did. You know. Could only drop in briefly fun. Yep, I know, bro. When we ran that dungeon the other night, I felt like the Fat Hobbit having to carry Frodo's ass. Yeah, up the friggin' white gold. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Totally, man. Alright, yeah, I'm definitely out. For sure. You know, but once again, like, my only problem with meta players is this. They want to believe that whoever says what is absolute. And in this game, you cannot say that because this is Elder Scrolls. It sets the standards, not the meta players. You know, am I going to say their builds are bad? No. Would I say that their builds are sufficient? Yes. Am I going to say that their builds are completely optimized? Once again, I believe what Listen said was the best way. It's contextual. You know, it depends on circumstances. And everything, circumstances will dictate different outcomes and different performance. So I do believe that. 100%. But when a player says it can't be done, well, there are players out there that's doing it. So never say it, because you are in Elder Scrolls. Alright, I'm Mysticraven, this is ESO Daily. Once again, thank you all my haters. Thank you to all my subs. Thank you to everybody, because I don't know what I would be doing now if I wasn't doing this show on a daily basis. And that's why it's called ESO Daily. Thank you once again and always. Have a nice day.